Step into the ring, it's Monday Night Fire. My rhymes burn hotter than a funeral pyre. I'm the heavyweight champ, you can call me sire. Reviewing raw like a southern rap messiah. Crossing over lines like I'm Stone Cold Steve Austin. Flipping opponents like I'm Randy Orton. Dirty South flow, my words they be costing. Every verse I drop got them head nodding. Spit lyrical punches like a ruthless fighter. Got the crowd hype, I'm the crowd igniter. Breaking down the raw matches, no denier. Dirty style rap, I'm the Monday night supplier.
What is up, everybody? How goes it? It is I, the voice, Joshua Joseph, here for another Monday Night Raw review show with my friends. You got the blue-eyed villain himself, Grunmeister. You got the Chaos Goblin, Kevin Calloway. And you got the Monday Night Raw Bearded Brigade Brothers, Banditos, any other thing you could put on the end of that. You can pretty much call us, as long as it's nice and we like it, I wouldn't say
that's the only thing
things.
we'll accept.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's our line, and that's where you stay. But we're here to talk some Raw, like always, on every Monday night on the In Your House network. So guys, how has your week been? Grun, I know it's been a little teary-eyed for you, and shedding a little tear. I don't know why you're crying, but how you doing?
No. Eyes are
Did you
bothering
poke
me.
your eye again?
No, I did not poke my eye.
So how have you guys been?
You know what? I'm feeling good. Eagles, they got a big win last night. Last night over a very promising team, the Rams.
Mhm.
However, we did lose Brandon Graham for the rest of the season, so that
sucks.
the other coin. Yeah.
We had similar issues with the Lions, and they rattled the Colts and went ahead and extended their I didn't realize this stat until I thought about it. Lions haven't let in a touchdown in 10 quarters of football.
That's crazy.
The second half of the Texans game didn't have a touchdown for the Texans, and then the last two games, they didn't have a touchdown scored on them. But
Damn.
in that time, we lost, I believe it was Khalif Raymond and I think we lost one of our tackles too, or maybe a secondary. And that's a huge hit going forward. We thought we were going to lose Monty for a second. Me and my buddy were sitting on the couch and he was getting taken to the back, and I did not know what was going to happen. He was back in the fourth quarter. So he should be all right, but 24-6 Lions went ahead and got the job done, but it's a short week. And I think we face the Bears on Thursday, if I'm not mistaken.
That you do. And I did watch that Lions game because for some reason I don't get the Bears game over here.
That's wild.
This week. Yeah, it was very weird. I was searching everywhere, could not get it. So I watched the Lions game, and there for a minute, you guys were like, there was at least somebody getting injured almost every play, and it was like, oh my God.
I don't know what was going through. It looked like the Colts were really ramping up how they were hitting. And, as a competitor and a former sportsman myself, when it comes to soccer and things like that, when you start going down a lot of points, you start really tackling or really doing things with intensity.
Yeah.
And it's with an intent, maybe not to injure, but an intent to make them feel it the next day so that they remember you even though that you got beat. So that's kind of what it felt like the Colts were doing, which, no knock against them, but it did cost us. So
it did. But, Detroit, like I've said for the past couple of years, they are going to be dangerous. Mm-hmm. And these two past seasons are proving that point very well. They got a good head coach behind them, and everybody seems to be buying into what he's selling on that team. So your fan base should be extremely happy. I know my friends at work that are Lions fans, they sure as hell let me know every week what my Bears have done. So
the Lions fans, it's crazy because I see even at away games, Lions fans are almost outnumbering the home team fans because we've been waiting. Like the culture of this team has been waiting so long for anything to be this way that we aren't used to it. We will
Very
travel.
true.
Like I'm seeing, like when we were at, we'll just use the Colts yesterday. I swear to God, I saw more Lions fans than I saw Colts fans in that entire arena.
One of my buddies was in attendance, and he's a Lions fan.
Hmm.
So yeah, you're right. You're seeing it quite often throughout this season, especially with the Lions on such a roll that they are, that their fan base is really coming out. And some of those what do they call them, fair weather fans, whatever. Yeah, they're coming out. But I mean, kudos to the Lions. They're doing their thing. It just really sucks they're in my same division. So
Yeah.
I can't really be like,
The Bears had
hey,
a tough-
Kevin, I'm
Bears had a
so
tough
glad
Sunday."
your team is doing great. Wow. No. Okay, good. You got a winning record. Great. All right. So, Grun, what are we talking about on your side?
On my side, I mean, Eagles are right now number one in their division. Hey, look, I did not. If you had told me at any point in this season Eagles are going to be number one in the division, I would say, nah, not happening.
I
No.
know. Week 1, you were complaining about your team. We're not
Yeah.
going to do anything this year. Now
Well,
you're number
because-
one.
We were struggling from the start of the season, and
Mhm.
then we were lucky enough to get an early bye week, and apparently that's all we needed. All we needed was 1 week off, and we
That's
got
all
it together.
the Eagles needed.
That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good assessment. I just don't like it. Like,
No, I don't blame
if
you.
I'm going to be
I
honest
thought the
with you.
Commanders were going to start taking that division by storm, and they did to an extent.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean,
we're starting to really see defenses figure out Jaden Daniels now, and I think
Yeah.
that's where they're starting to struggle.
But we need to find out if he can do that pivot, because
Yeah.
there's only a few quarterbacks who can pivot, especially being so young. So hopefully it works out for him. I really want all these young quarterbacks that are coming up to actually succeed, because
Yeah.
if we think
Mhm.
about it, all the ones that we watched, they're not there anymore. Like, at least for me, the ones I watched growing up, I mean, I hear Tom Brady now doing commentary, which I don't mind. I actually like a lot of the input that he says, and it's not like over my head. I'm actually understanding what the hell he's actually talking about. So I want to see, like, Jameis Winston. I want to see that dude succeed. I just really do. There's something about his energy. There's something about the way he gets pumped for a game. I mean, I don't want to see his team win or things like that, but I want to see him succeed.
The Browns can have a few wins as long as they get crushed inevitably.
Yeah, well, I think that's one thing we can all agree on, as long as the Browns are crushed by
Listen,
the end of
the
the
state of
season.
Ohio can just take L's upon L's. That's fine with me.
I'm okay with that.
I don't think that's the team that we need to hope loses. It's the Dallas Cowgirls. Okay.
Actually, you know what? I'm with Grun. The more that the Cowboys lose, the better an NFL season is. The less
Yeah.
cursed it is.
Oh
Because
my God.
man, I take great pleasure in watching the Cowboys lose time after time after time.
Dude, I know some people who border on checking into a mental hospital every time the Cowboys lose. So it's quite often.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to talk your friends off the ledge at least once a week.
All these fans need to do is stop saying that, oh, the Cowboys are American. Like, no, they are not America's team.
You know what's
If
funny?
you-
The Lions
what?
are America's team now.
You
I
know
promise you,
what?
it's the
I can-
Lions.
I can buy that because
At least this
you know
year.
what? I was thrilled when I saw the Lions perform so well last season and then carrying it over to this season. Like, look, it's a team that struggled for 2 decades, 3 decades,
3 decades.
Yeah.
for 3 decades.
And they had
Like,
the best running back on the planet.
Mhm.
Barry Sanders is the GOAT of running backs, in my opinion. Like, the dude moved so fluidly.
And that man carried us to a NFC championship that we lost.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, but you know what? Like, if I'm if I'm a Detroit fan, I'm like, you know what? It's better than what we've gotten in the last 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
Very true. Very true. I mean, we had glimpses of hope with watching Megatron go over there
Mm-hmm.
and all the spectacular things he did. And like I brought up Barry Sanders. I mean, my mom was so angry that she had to buy me a Barry Sanders jersey for Christmas one year, but that was the jersey I wanted. You know, she's like, "You're a Bears fan. We do not do this." She's like, "But Barry Sanders is pretty good. I really like what he does."
But I get it.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, the little crossing over, it's always that one player that kind of gets you to go over and check out maybe a rivalry team, which I always find fun. And I mean, Ken Griffey Jr. was for me in baseball. You know, I was an Indians fan, so seeing Ken Griffey come to the plate was very devastating back in the day. But I had his jersey. Definitely had his jersey. Loved that dude. Thought he was one of the best hitters to ever step to a plate. So, all right, fellas, do we got any other outside wrestling talk we want to hit before we dive into our subjects?
I'm coming
I
up
don't think so.
blank. I saw I saw the second trailer of Sonic 3, and I'm really excited.
Okay.
Sonic 3, okay.
That came out. The trailer came out today. Actually, while I was at work, one of my students came up and talked to me about it, and I'm like, "Oh, there's a new trailer." So I watched it, and I'm like, "Oh my god, I'm so excited for this movie!" I can't believe there are so few video game movies that go well.
Mhm.
That I really, really grasp onto the ones that go well.
Yeah.
And the Sonic franchise series of movies has been one of them. They've really done it well to its justice. When they bring in new characters, it's for good reasons. So the third one brings in Shadow the Hedgehog. My one concern is because Shadow's backstory is so dark and it's a PG movie. I don't know how they're going to do it justice, but I have no worries that they do Shadow's the character justice, just the backstory.
Yeah.
Right.
Because his backstory has a lot to do with murder. And
I wonder if they'll pull later on pulling a Shadow side movie and then maybe making it a little more presented in that way, you know.
I bet they do so they did a Knuckles TV series, limited series.
Oh, okay.
I bet they do that.
Oh, that would be cool too.
I think they're going to keep the Sonic franchise as the movie, but they might do the side stories of the characters there, and they could make it darker. We'll see. I think the Knuckles one might have been PG-13 or TV-14 for the series, so they could get away with some stuff at TV-14 for Shadow, and I think it would be fine.
Okay.
Really, they could go full R with Shadow's backstory. It's very dark, but they shouldn't for business reasons.
Yeah. I mean, that's quite understandable. But you could always get new people checking that stuff out. I mean, you go a rated R Sonic type show and have Shadow be the main character. I know some friends that they love the Shadow character, so they would be the first in line, sitting there waiting for 3 days just to get tickets.
Yeah.
And then you got to go to the show days from then. They were real Star Wars stuff. You know what I mean, Grun?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's very obvious that the nerd culture fans and video game people who are older now they crave those R-rated experiences that give it justice.
Yeah.
Because you look at your Deadpools, you look at just really anything that you can make darker and make it at least go towards all of the stuff that they've heard about growing up about these backstories. There's definitely a base for it, and there's a base that'll come out for it. I just saw this too because I forgot about this movie. Kraven the Hunter is coming out.
Oh yeah,
in
I
December,
did. Yeah.
And Sony has always traditionally been against R-rated superhero things to not alienate audiences and things. Kraven is rated R.
Oh yeah,
good.
Which,
if
it has any sense of trying to succeed, Kraven has to be rated R. He's literally a hunter.
Exactly. Exactly.
These companies, these organizations, Sony, Disney, they have to stop being afraid of making certain comic book characters, their movies, or their shows rated R. Because I'm sorry, some of them are rated R in everything they do, and it's like you can maybe get away with PG-13. You can get away with a PG-13 Wolverine for a little bit, but like some of these characters, like they need to be rated R. Yeah. Like Blade. If they made a PG-13 Blade, I'm thinking, yeah, it's not gonna be as good as the Wesley Snipes ones.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
granted, even Wesley Snipes, the first one was the best one.
Fair. And you got to also think the minds that created this stuff, where they were coming out of, the generations that they were trying to entertain. It was 90s kids. It was early 2000 kids. We were subjected to quite a few questionable things that maybe kids shouldn't be seeing at young ages.
I would argue that it's worse now.
Oh, yeah. It is, but it doesn't seem to be that, like, with our movies, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like with the superhero movies and stuff. I feel like if a lot of these came out in the 90s, it would be bloodbath after bloodbath.
Yeah.
I mean, Spawn was one of the biggest movies to come out back then, and I couldn't wait for the violence in that one.
I'm still waiting for who is it, Tom McDonald or no, not Tom McDonald. Todd McFarlane.
Yeah.
Todd McFarlane. Then making his remake, his version of Spawn, he's taking a Jaws approach with it.
Well, you'll probably be waiting quite a lot. It's like waiting for a Calvin and Hobbes movie. It ain't gonna happen.
Yeah,
it's not gonna happen.
But all right, so let's get into what brings us together on a Monday night. We are close to, what are we, 44 minutes away? We're about 44 minutes away from Raw going live. So let's kick it off. And you know what, Kevin? I missed your voice so much. Let's start off with you, buddy. Look who we got. And Kevin, give us what we're going to be talking about.
From out of the shadows, from away from Gunther, it feels. Maybe they'll have a loose connection, but it's not together anymore. Yes, Ludwig Kaiser strikes out on his own. And we've been talking about Ludwig Kaiser for a long time on this show. To no surprise, because the man has a lot of potential. The man has a lot of ways to get heat. The man has a lot of ways to really show off everything he can do. And he emotes incredibly well. We have always felt that this was a matter of time.
Yeah.
But now there has been an avenue in which they did it. Ludwig Kaiser comes in and takes away the finish of a banger of a match between Braun Breaker and Sheamus. So he's wading straight into the deep end with some meaty boys.
Yes.
So, there's so much to talk about with Ludwig Kaiser, really.
Yeah.
But I guess I'll start it by saying this. It feels like we're going towards a triple threat match. It doesn't seem like we could get around that unless they're going to add a fourth piece that we don't know about.
Okay.
It feels like they're going towards a triple threat match. Is this the time to put a title on Ludwig Kaiser when you don't have to pin Braun Breaker?
Yeah, go ahead and tackle that one.
Yeah, I think it's more right now. We need this reign of the Intercontinental title for Braun Breaker to mean something. So I think no, but I think in this we can show that while Ludwig is not as beefy as the other two men, we can show that because he did come up in the European scene, which if you're into pro wrestling, you would probably have learned that outside the United States, other wrestling is a lot meaner. It's a lot tougher. And granted, it changes via the region, but Europe, the Europeans, they go hard. And Ludwig Kaiser, he's a mean German.
You ain't lying. I mean, just witness what he did at the end of that match. It was very devastating. But I like your question, Kevin, because once you asked that the first thing that popped into my head was the whole metaphor about striking while the iron is hot. But then I thought, Ludwig, does he need that though? Because he seems to get this push from the fans, because we've been, like you said, we've been calling for this exact thing has been said on this show multiple times. It's just was always the question of when are they going to pull the trigger, and it appears that they are pulling the trigger in some form or fashion right now. So my question, or your question, is is this where we put the title on him? I think you could definitely get away with it, and to intertwine what you're talking about, Grun, Braun Breaker is a big element in that of Ludwig. Those two just going back and forth and battling, because we know what they're both capable of and we know what they both can take. Now, do we need that every Monday night? Do we need that every PLE? No. But having those two battling back and forth for this title, that makes that title even more meaningful, because then more guys want to get into that. I mean, a la, I'm drawing a blank. Bronson Reed taking his moment, making a moment, making that big man mean something. When he's supposed to be at a show, you're gonna see something Bronson Reed can do, and he took that moment, and now we're seeing a big push with him. Similar, in my opinion, to Ludwig and his natural growth. Kevin, does that answer any of the what you have going out there, or?
Yeah, I think it does. And I agree. I actually agree with Grun. I don't think it's time to put the title on him yet. I do think striking while the iron's hot isn't a bad idea, because you can get that momentum going for him. You can get everything jump started. But again, it all depends on what you want to do with him and when.
Yeah.
And even if he's done something now, there still might be other things that they're thinking about later. We've always talked about, well, would Ludwig face Gunther? I think it's very clear they're going to keep them apart now for a while, because that way Ludwig can have his own identity. And I think
Yes.
that's what he was kind of missing prior. So just him starting to strike into his own identity, I think arguably is enough, because it's
Okay.
going to start building him up. It's going to start showing him as a singles, Bond villain that we know him to be. But it will show it in a way that he's not just like, oh, you got to go through me to get to Gunther, because that's what he has been presented as. He's been presented as the guy who is the gatekeeper to Gunther, but unfortunately the gatekeeper to Gunther kept losing in order for them
Yeah.
to get to Gunther.
And sometimes that gatekeeper just becomes a doormat to get to where people want to go to, and that can ruin careers too. Grun,
Yeah.
were you chiming in with something?
No.
Okay,
No.
sorry. I thought I heard somebody. Might have been you, Kevin, saying something back.
But then, so then I'll follow up a question. I'll follow
Okay.
up a question, because I do agree. I don't think we want to get the title on him yet. How can we then instead find a way to push Ludwig? Is it just through him showing out in matches? Because we have seen that already. I don't know if that's any different than what we've gotten. Who can we pair him with to really raise his stock? Could it be one of the guys who's in this triple threat? Could it just be him and Sheamus going through series like Sheamus and Pete Dunne did, and that elevates him? Could it be he spins off with Braun Breaker and maybe he takes a couple L's, but he shows a lot of resilience against Braun Breaker? I think Braun is very tweenerish, and I would prefer the Sheamus route and get like a best of 7 out of Sheamus, because I think they could do enough with that. They're both really talented workers to where they can give us different matches, kind of like how Mello and Andrade did over on SmackDown.
I was just going to bring that up and say, I mean, we've seen the success from the fan love for those two in their best of 7. It might be wise to take that from SmackDown, put it over on Raw, and maybe do it with Sheamus. I think that would be beneficial to both guys and both of their careers and where they both want to go right now. I mean, Sheamus is he's building on legacy. I mean, he's already won titles. He's already done amazing things. And right now it's like a legacy build for him. So whatever he can accomplish in this run is going to just, add to what he's already accomplished. So, but with Ludwig, he's still got, I mean, yes, has he proven to us that he can go in a match? Obviously. But now you got to start collecting championships. It's like watching LeBron go out there his first couple of years. Okay, we see what you do. Now you got to start collecting rings. So I think we're in that phase with Kaiser here. And you know what would be really interesting, in my opinion, is
What's
just
that?
having Ludwig and Sheamus just doing exactly what Pete Dunne and and Sheamus did, but just make it brutal, because they can do that and their bodies show the damage. It's more showing on them. So I like the Sheamus angle of that one. Grun, you got any final words on this?
I definitely think it's almost time for Ludwig to win his first title. I think we are on that road, and I am very much looking forward to seeing what he does. It looks like we're going to get a lot more out of him as an individual and not with Gunter.
Oh yeah,
So I'm definitely I'm coming along for the ride. I'm buying
you bought the
class.
ticket.
Yeah, first class ticket. Come on.
Ooh, he's getting champagne on this ride.
Hey, we got to celebrate when he wins.
That's true.
All right. So Kevin, I love the subject. I don't think we need to put a pin in this, because I think he's going to make it to where we have to talk about him every week.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, we'll just keep tabs on this story. So anytime you want to throw out a Ludwig story, let's get it out there and we'll start talking about it. But going on to that, Grun, look, buddy, I love your voice too, and I missed it too,
Okay.
but I did talk to you Sunday. Kevin and my days are spaced out even further.
I
We only get
understand
to
that.
read. Yeah. So, but I love what you want to talk about. So let's talk about it.
Yes, the War Raiders took on Carlito and Dominic Mysterio on last week's Raw. They did end up winning, the War Raiders.
Yes.
However, they were laid out by Judgment Day.
Yeah.
At the same time, the week prior, we definitely saw some tension between Finn and Dom. And that is at least leading me to believe that Finn is going to... Now, Carlito has been expected to be the next one kicked out of Judgment Day. That was what was and that was prior to his comment about Io and Kyrie, which was just a joke. That was I do believe was received well by Io and Kyrie. But now with this tension between Finn and Dom, like I guess my question is, does Dom, is he kicked out of Judgment Day or does he leave Judgment Day?
I think if they're gonna go the route, and this is an if they go the route of Dom being out of Judgment Day, I think he picks it himself. I think he goes off with and it's going to be with Liv. It's going to be with Liv and Raquel. They will all leave at the same time, because them as a three-piece can still work. They don't need to be kicked out. On top of which, if they're kicked out of Judgment Day, it feels closer. It really feels closer to a face turn for them, which would be an incredibly bad move. Because if you kick them out of Judgment Day and you let that be a thing, someone is going to have sympathy out of that. Don't give people unnecessary sympathy unless you want them to be faces. But if he just up and leaves himself, there's no sympathy for either party.
Yeah.
And I think you get away scot-free without accidentally giving anyone a face rub.
No, that's smart. That's smart. And yes, House, our leader of In Your House is here in the chat. He is letting us know, hey, are we all talking impending implosion of the Judgment Day? And that's exactly what we're talking about, because it is Grun talk. So Grun, I have a different thought. I think Finn is going to be the one to leave.
So that's also a possibility too.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think we're going to get uh I think we're going to get a Finn turn or a departure, what have you, but it's going to be in a Finn way. Um as we can harken back to exactly what House was talking about months and months ago, you got to watch Finn. Watch what Finn's doing, and then we seen him turn against Damien. Um I think that's where we're at again, because I think Finn needs something different. Everybody else can go off, like you said. Liv and Raquel and Dom, they can go off and be their own separate entity, and it's going to work. And if they just really, like you said, if they just split, take off, there's nothing left. So then that leaves Carlito and big forehead old Dunnan.
JD Funko Pop as
Yeah, JD Funko Pop, live action Funko Pop. And then, I really don't see them making it past the next round of cuts whenever that happens.
I think if they keep Finn and JD together to an extent, kind of like how Ludwig and Gunther were together.
Yeah. Okay, but does
Yeah.
JD give you those vibes, though, that something's going to come off of that rub being with Finn? I mean, I love what JD can do in a ring. I do. I really do. I think he's very talented. But when I hear him on a mic, when I see him in a promo, I go, why am I watching you? And maybe that's not his fault. Maybe they're just not putting him in the right light. But we always talk about it. You get 5 minutes. Kevin, you know this.
Yeah.
You get your 5 minutes, and what you do with it is what you do with it. Carlito, he back in the day ate an apple. And then it turned into something that he did constantly. People got onto it, things like that. There's no, like, I can't make my forehead bigger. I guess I can go and get one of those, and I hate keeping going back to this, but what else can I do?
Right.
Obviously I can't do his moves, but he's so talented, and I don't get it. Like, I think he could get a rub, and maybe him being with Finn would give us a different light of JD. Maybe it would. And maybe we would get a different opinion of him, or I would have a different opinion of him. I don't know. Maybe I'm just rambling too about JD.
I mean, it could be, it could not be. I don't think we've seen enough of JD trying to talk. He's always been a background character.
Okay.
And so Ludwig we knew was star because of how he emotes. I don't think JD has as much emoting. Not to say he doesn't, because he does, especially in-ring emoting. I think he does that very well. But it's that out-of-ring emoting that we don't see as much.
Yeah.
And it could be that some performers are like this. Until they're actively in that story, it's hard for them to, get going for it. Maybe he just needs that one story to try. I think JD's work is incredible, but I do agree that he has felt very behind everyone else right now. So it's going to take some rehab to get something out of him other than that. And then as far as like the match itself with Judgment Day and War Raiders, I think they go all in on War Raiders here. And I think it's the right move. Because the reason it is because War Raiders, they've gotten a fresh coat of paint since they've come back. And it's not even like a full fresh coat of paint. It's just like they went from red to bright red.
Yeah.
But it's
subtle
nice
changes
enough,
work.
But that subtle change works because they're not just like Viking bros anymore. They're here to murder some people. They're not here to talk about, Valhalla and things like that. Maybe they sprinkle that into promos later. Who knows? But they're here to smash. They are. I always likened them when I saw them before WWE to Demolition. They
Oh.
are Demolition.
Good
They
comparison.
are Axe and Smash.
Yeah. No, I see where you're getting. And I think, like, I don't know which show we've talked about it because, IYH has so many shows out there. But we talked about the fact that, like, tag teams nowadays, to WWE first has never done the Viking character ever. They've never done it well, ever, ever. But now we're seeing this. And like you said, there's subtle changes, that little bit of red changing, not saying the Valhalla, not saying the Viking stuff all the time, and making that your focal point, making it your focal point. You're there to beat some ass and let's see it get done. And I think that's exactly what we've seen in this Judgment Day tag team match. And this was one of the first matches I've seen of them where I was like, okay, I get what they're doing. I get this character now. So I was freshly, like, just taken back by that match and how good it actually was.
They're really, really good workers, and they've
Mhm.
finally decided to start unleashing Ivar because he's an incredibly athletic big man.
Yeah, it's crazy to watch him float around in a ring. Grun, I see you over there. I don't know if the hamster's running on the wheel or.
Oh, it's running.
Well, let's hear what it's got to say.
Well, I first off, I definitely think that the key to what I think is going to be the best option with Judgment Day is definitely putting the titles on the War Raiders immediately. As the second that the sooner they can do it, the better. I think what we're actually going to end up seeing after hearing from both you guys, we're going to see Judgment Day mutually split. We're going to see Finn and JD walk away while Carlito, Dom, Liv, and Raquel stay together. Finn, I'm sure he's going to be trying to tell Carlito, hey, come with us. Carlito, he's got that connection with Dom. And I think he's going to be like, Finn, I'm sorry, dude, but like Dom's my guy. Like he's like, I have all this love and respect for you, but I'm gonna stick with Dom.
They're also setting up that womanizing angle for him.
Yeah.
And I think he sticks trying to go for Raquel.
That could be interesting.
Definitely.
Ken, we see you, and we are so happy you tuned in. That is a lifetime member of the Window Lickers on Monday night. Ken, Kevin, that your dad, right?
Correct.
Yes. I knew that, but I wanted to make sure you know how.
Yeah.
You know how. All right, so I absolutely love where we're going with this. We got House in here talking about it. He said basically everything we're saying with this. The tag titles need to come off Judgment Day. They need to be quick, and I think
there's a golden rule with titles.
Yeah,
and if you have better business losing them, then it's time to lose them.
I could not agree with you more on that one. That makes so much sense for a lot of things, if it's time to lose something and you're going to get way more benefit out of losing that, it's time to walk away and go. And I love where these two subjects went off to. I'm glad we started my co-host off with their subjects because they really got the chat going. We had House in there just giving us all his insight, which you can catch that live this Saturday in Kokomo at the Outhouse Records, where we do our first live other podcast. This is going to be phenomenal. You guys are going to love what we got. We got raffles. We got Kevin Calloway, the Chaos Goblin, is going to be in attendance.
Hey, you got the Relentless Ray Larson, one of my good friends too.
Exactly. I mean, the stars are coming out. We've had people sending out promos. We had the Pope, Elijah Burke, send out a promo for our show. Oh man, it's going to be a blast. And that's at Kokomo, Indiana, out at Outhouse Records. They got a little record store and we're going to be there. There's going to be live music, games, damn near every single IYH personality except our beloved Paragon, our podcasting brother, and the blue-eyed villain himself. He's got a Pennsylvania thing to do, so he's going to stay
Yeah.
there.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
I'm gonna print out a picture of Grun and just hold it up every so often. And then as far as Paragon, my boy Paragon, he's got to go defend his title. So I understand
Exactly.
business is business. You got to hold down the
Yes.
heavyweight division there to merge.
Exactly. And he wouldn't be the baddest man on this planet, the baddest wrestler that you've ever seen. He is Paragon. The dude, he's phenomenal in the ring. I advise anybody out there, if you're listening to us and he comes to your neck of the woods or you're just within driving distance, go and check out what he can do. You're going to be amazed. We got some chats coming in here. Oh yes, House saying he can't wait. It's
Right.
finally here. Saturday is going to be great. You said it. All right, so let's get into these last two subjects real quick. I would like to bring up, we got to talk about it because it was set. We got 5 versus 5. Who is the biggest asset of this women's match? You guys might see my pick. It's Rhea there. She's front and foremost
Yeah.
because
It's Rhea.
she's Rhea.
It's real.
It's Rhea. But I think there's a large question though too in this 5v5.
Yeah.
Yes,
Jade Cargill just got written off.
very true.
Do we know who's replacing her?
It got leaked. It wasn't supposed to be revealed until this Friday, because Raw tonight and this Friday were both pre-taped, I believe.
Got it.
Yes.
Because guys, Thursday is Thanksgiving, and
Yeah.
WWE is a new era. We talked about it last week.
We did. We talked about it last week.
They are giving their superstars, their employees, the holidays off. So
which is fantastic. We love that.
You know what? They deserve it. Risking breaking their necks every night. You know what? Yeah, you deserve it.
Yeah, and not to spoil anything because I don't want to bring up the leaked member because I think that's more of a SmackDown thing.
Okay.
Even though, I get that the things happen online, but I'm never one to spoil it unless they've physically announced it.
That's why I didn't put her on that sheet because I had two. I was going to put.
But I looked it up and I don't disagree with the pick. I'll just leave it at that. I don't disagree with the pick.
It's a good pick. It will further stories and potentially lead to some turns down the line. From what I've heard, what they listed as injuries are to cover up a real injury, but they did say that she'd only be out for 3 months. So they think that puts her back.
That puts her back before Mania.
Before Mania, okay. I was going to say
the Rumble.
Okay, after the Rumble. Okay, so Rumble.
Well,
most
in fairness,
likely
though,
not.
usually when they announce these things, they'll announce a longer date.
Yeah.
So the recovery, they'll always and this is one of the tricks of the business too. They'll give you a time frame. Like doctors always give you a time frame for injuries and healing. Yeah. You never know. Then they'll give you 12 to 16 weeks. WWE will always pick the larger of the two numbers because if you come back early,
it's a surprise. It's great. People love it.
And it's a business tactic. It's really smart. Is. I think if we're looking at 3 months from now, it would technically be right after the Rumble. So, but if you're looking at a Rumble match, it's pretty easy to protect someone coming back from injury. They don't have to do that much in a Rumble match.
Yeah.
So I could see her being a surprise entrant back in the Rumble.
I think I did hear that Bianca and Jade are going to have to relinquish the women's tag team titles.
It'd be interesting to put Naomi in the spot unless they got something else to do with it.
I have a whole theory on Naomi, my friend.
I mean, this guy thinks Naomi's going to be women's champion, and I can see it. I just don't know if it's going to be before Mania or at Mania. At this point, I think that's what we're looking at. That's that's the big question.
You're the big question.
People question me all the time, so I mean, I don't have answers for why people question me. Okay,
well, there's a lot of questions.
I don't either. I absolutely don't. I don't question you. I follow you.
But
All right.
but the women's war game does look really it looks interesting this year.
Who? Okay, so now that you're going off of that, Kevin, you're bringing us back to the topic at hand. Who do you guys see in this women's war game, discarding the surprise we're going to get on SmackDown? Who do you see in this making the biggest impact in this match on Saturday?
Ooh, so I'm gonna take an off the wall pick. Well, I'm gonna take an off the wall pick and a more grounded one. I think Io Sky has essentially been dubbed the queen of the war game.
Very true.
She is fucking crazy.
Exactly.
Jeez.
She's been in every women's war game match, and she seems to do just what her spot in the war games is essentially the same as Kofi's in the Rumble for the longest time, or John Morrison's, whoever had it at the time. She's gonna go out there and she's gonna do wild stuff. But I'm gonna pick another one that I think is gonna fly under people's radar with what she's gonna do, and that's Candice LeRae. I think Candice LeRae, she's finally in a position after being with WWE for so long to be in a prominent match that she's gonna show out, and I think that's my dark horse pick to be someone we're talking about after this match. Will she have like a story after the match or like built-in business as far as impact with that? I don't think so. But as far as who we talk about coming out of the match and who we want to see elevated, I think that's going to be a name on the tip of our tongues.
No, I like it. I like it. And Nick, yes, we would love to say thank you for checking us out, and thank you for checking in on that Sabu interview. We absolutely love that you enjoyed it. And yes, House, we made sure not to let out predictions.
No predictions.
This is exactly why I framed it with the way we're going. Now, Grun.
Yes.
Who in this mix, and I know it's 10 women, so it's going to get you a little nervous. Who do you see making the biggest impact in this match?
I mean, like Io and Candice, I definitely feel like the way that they are having Candice involved as much as they are on SmackDown, I think they are definitely finally giving her time to shine in pushing and giving her a chance to get pushed.
Yeah.
So I can definitely see how she might be the one to come out of this looking a lot better than going in. I almost think that Tiffany Stratton, we're going to see the I am a stud. Thank you very much, Colin. I think Tiffany Stratton, though, I think she's going to be the one coming out. And not that she doesn't look good now. She is great. She's great on the mic. She is great. The crowd is always excited when they see her. They're always excited when they hear her music. And she definitely commands the attention when it's her time to speak.
Yeah.
I think I'm hoping that we see all these women show a violent side that we don't normally see from the women's division. And the way that while their opening segment on Raw last week was relatively short, it made the point clear that this is going to be the fight War Games match. This is not going to be so much story. There's probably going to be some storyline elements, but it will be the one that is probably the most violent of the two.
Interesting. I like it. I like where we're going with that, with the women's division, the match itself, the War Games match, and it going to be the more violent one. I personally love the fact that they're allowing the women to do more what years ago was considered more of the men's type wrestling and getting more violent and doing it. I love some of my favorite deathmatch women or wrestlers, let's just say that, are women. I mean, Randy West, like, come on. Like,
hey,
she's
personal friend of mine.
Dude, I'm telling you, I've tried for years to get her on my podcast to interview her because I have so many questions.
You should ask Annie. She's a personal friend of hers.
Oh, I might. I mean, I've been in contact with Randy, and we've went back and forth, but it's just never happened. I absolutely love what she's brought to the division of death matches, and hopefully there's a linking up with me and her. But I like how they're going a little more. I mean, Io Sky, I really think could have just a giant moment. And I know she's had it.
Io's gonna walk away with the moment, isn't she?
Yeah,
She probably is.
I think she is. It's almost like when Kofi, like he gave us all those spectacular
You were
moments.
always waiting for Kofi to do, like the second Kofi
Yeah.
entered the Rumble, you were always waiting for that thing that Kofi does.
Exactly. And I
Yep.
think she's just going, there's just something about this year, something about the year she's had that just lets me say, I think that's where we're going. And right before we get into your thought there, Grun, Nick, yes, that would be something very interesting, or something that we might be interested in. After the show, I will send you a message and get some things working. And we also have House jumping in with a question for the panel.
Ooh.
You guys go, before you guys go off the air. Okay. What women's division is getting you the most invested? Raw's division or SmackDown? Let's go with that.
Do you got a thought already, Grun? It looks like you're
Oh,
pointing
yeah.
at blue. So
Blue
you're
is
going
SmackDown. I'm not going to shred. I don't want to hate on the Raw division because they got Rhea Ripley, they got Liv Morgan, who's definitely hotter than she's been in her entire run in WWE. This is her best run, and I mean that with all due respect because it is a great run that she's having right now. But when I look at the overall landscape of the Raw Women's division, there's more they could be doing but they're not. While on SmackDown, Bianca, Jade, Naomi, Bayley, Nia Jax, Candice LeRae, Chelsea Green, Tiffany Stratton, Piper Niven, Michin, like there are a lot of women in BFAP. Almost every woman in the last 3 weeks have done something important, have done something to garner their attention. Elektra Lopez is going to be wrestling this week on SmackDown.
Ooh, I've been waiting to see her wrestle again.
And so it's like people are getting their time to shine on, especially the women. All the women are getting their time to shine on SmackDown. And so I think Raw. I think it's just the guys on Raw. They're doing too much, which while that hurts the women's division, at the same time, like I don't want the guys to stop what they're doing. So it's like it's with Raw.
You need 3 hours.
Yeah.
That is exactly why you need 3 hours on Monday. I understand the convenience of it. Trust me, I do. If that's the bother, let's bump it up an hour. Start it at 7 and have it only go till 10. There you go. I fixed your late night problem. But I full-heartedly believe 3 hours is exactly what you need, especially to highlight the women that are on Raw, because it's almost as if the SmackDown women almost, you could say, get to about an hour, half an hour to an hour of television time a week. That you can't say that on Raw.
And I think I agree with you that Raw has to be 3 hours currently in their landscape, but there's a reason for that. And that's because they made the roster that way. They made the roster with 3 hours in mind. So they have more people over on Raw that are big time players in the male division. So when they switch to 2 hours, they still have to use those big time players. Like there's no way around business wise not to use them. And I get it. I want to see some women's wrestling that's good too, but you got to do best of the best at that point because they're contending with the likes of Gunther. They're contending with the likes of Braun Breaker. They're contending with the likes of Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest, CM Punk. The list goes on. So while I get it, and I would like to see more time for the women's division, I think what we're seeing right now is best of the best women's division on Raw, and more of the mid-tier, like mid-booking avenues for them aren't as open. But I'd argue that there's also a secondary reason why SmackDown's women division feels like it's on fire. And the secondary reason is because they have a mid-tier title now. They are working towards a mid-tier title. Raw doesn't.
Point. Fair point.
So just making that tournament and putting names in it, they all felt more meaningful because they were in the tournament. Like, done. They feel more meaningful simply because they were considered in the tournament.
Hey, you know what? You're speaking 100% facts on this one. I mean, I'd even think about that angle of it, but that's exactly why you're here. That's why you set third chair there, Chaos Goblin. And Grun, if you don't start picking it up, he's going to take second chair. So,
What the hell?
Grun, I just got to keep you on your toes.
I'm really
buddy.
learning the recorder well, so I'm going to take second chair instead of third.
Ooh, see? There we go. We're going to start a band, the Bearded Band, and that is us. This was a great discussion all the way around. Every subject we touched on. I would like to give a little teaser for next week. Fans, not only will we be talking about the amazing house party that we're going to throw on, we are also going to be talking about, there's been some rumors, guys. I don't know if you've seen this, but when Raw goes to Netflix, there's a chance the hardcore title might be coming back.
Ooh. I could see it because they're going outside of PG now.
So I would like to Grun. I don't need your damn input right now. This is what I'm saying. It's a preview. Put a pin in it, Grun. I want to see if you guys, because I want to get your actual thoughts on this, and it'll give you time to think about it. Is this a good idea or is this a bad idea?
Okay.
Because we've talked about too many titles, and we've also talked about what has been needed through the title draft that we had. We got House in the chat. He's loving the idea of a hardcore title. Let's get one last comment from House. I feel like the women's division on SmackDown is on fire because of what Kevin is saying. And the women are focal points.
Yeah,
very
they are.
true. In the main event, mid-card and tag team division. Yeah, I think that sums it up exactly what we were saying. And Kevin, yeah, you hit some great ones tonight. Grun, you hit some amazing ones like always. So guys, let them know what you do outside of this little hour show that we do.
Well, what we do is show up on Saturday to the house party.
Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Look at him.
Where we get to show up to Outhouse Records in Kokomo, Indiana, and we get to do our live podcast and live games, live giveaways. We get me there, the Chaos Goblin himself, and also my good personal friend, Ray Larson, the relentless Ray Larson. I swear to God, I'm going to set up a chop booth. I'm going to see how many people want to take a chop from me.
This is going to be awesome. I love this.
So you
idea.
can find me slapping meat on people's chests this Saturday.
This is going to be amazing. I can't wait.
You can otherwise find me on Facebook, Kevin Calloway, Instagram, Calloway Kevin. And yeah, I think that's about it right now.
Awesome. Yeah, come out there, come see Kevin, come up, sign up for the chop booth. We'll work all the details out for that, but this is something we've talked about. We've talked about it, and I'm glad to hear it. It's going to be a possibility.
Yeah.
So, Grun, hit him with what you're going to be dabbling into this week.
You can catch me on Friday at twitch.tv/Grunmeister for the SmackDown preview review show, where I will be talking about what happened on this past week's SmackDown. And I'll be talking about what might happen on this week's SmackDown. And I'll give you my own full personal predictions on all the matches and everything that's going to go down at Survivor Series War Games, since I won't be in Kokomo, Indiana on Saturday.
Yeah, you'll be there in spirit, though.
Yeah, I got a couple videos for you guys.
Exactly. We got a couple videos that Grun's recording that, we're just going to let Grun be Grun, and what brought him to our eyesight and his, just Grun, your special way you get the message across. We just love it.
And I promise you that these videos show the love that I have for Indiana.
Oh gosh. All right. So, with that being said, it is I, the voice, Joshua Joseph. You can catch me here every Monday with my co host, the Chaos Goblin himself, Kevin Calloway, and the blue eyed villain out of PA, Grunmeister. We do it raw talk, we do silly talk. We have a great time. We invite you to join us. It's at 7 p.m. every Monday, an hour before Raw. We get you educated, get you ready to go to Raw and be the dopest dude in the house or bar or wherever the hell you watch Raw. You'll be educated because you listen to us. On top of that, you can catch me on Fridays where me and House, we go extreme. We go ECW. We go back in time and we watch ECW Hardcore TV. We've been following the story and we are leading right up to, we're right at the edge, November to Remember 1997. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. And that was one staple pay-per-view. Yes, that's what they called him back in the day for ECW. So go check that out and then check us out and see where we're at in the storyline. It's been a banger. This week I will be probably flying solo. So come check me out, come hang out. Maybe you might find a random in your house partner, somebody. They might join me. Who knows? But you check me out Fridays at 6 p.m. and we get you ready, get you primed, and you can go over there and hang out with Grun in his room. And then on Saturday, bi-weekly, I go into the depths of the seas with Viking Storm, and we go to Conspiracies at Seas. We had our very first one this past Saturday, and it was a banger. We had fun talking about Project Bluebeam. Do you know what it is? Go talk about it. It is considered one of the craziest conspiracies because you can see everything they're talking about it. So go and check that out. It's a good one. On top of that, you can check out me and House talking to Sabu from our ECW podcast. It was fantastic. I am telling you right now, if you're a Sabu fan, go check that out because you're going to see Sabu in a way you've never seen him before. And he wants to be our friend and we want to be his friend. He wants to take us to Vegas where he lives during WrestleMania. Not to go to WrestleMania. We want to go hang out with Sabu and go see what Sabu does. And he said, come do it. So, you know what? Why don't you hit us up and send us some of your monies because we love money. So me and House can go and hang out with Sabu. And then on top of that, this is last, and I guarantee I will be off your screen. We go to the house party. Sunday house party is one of my favorite things to do because I get to talk wrestling with my brothers and hopefully my sister when she decides to join us on a Sunday house party. And then we just talk wrestling. We talk everything that we love about that week of wrestling and what's to come. And we get you prepped and primed for what we are doing Saturday. Saturday, you are about to see the heart and soul of what we do. Saturday, you're about to see all our work put together just to give you a live experience. It is the Sunday house party, and it's going to be live on a Saturday, right before Survivor Series, Outhouse Records, out in Kokomo, Indiana. If you need to know where to go, hit us up. Let us know. This commercial that we're about to show will let you know all the information. Come support us. Come be a part of the moment. Go check out our merch. We're at Brainbusters Tees. Go check us out in your house. You can look it up there. You got The Voice merch. You got Hypocrisy Jones merch. You got Annie O'Neill merch. And you got the In Your House merch. So come check us out because we are going to start putting more in there. And you want to be the freshest dude out in the playground. I know I do. And for all of us here at In Your House, we love you, household. Thank you for always being here and supporting us. And we can't wait to catch you on the next one.
Especially Saturday.
Especially Saturday.
And then when I catch you, I'll tickle you. Yeah, I'll tickle you. Yeah, because I just can't stand you. Oh,
Hey, Barry?
hey, Jordan.
Hey, man, what are you doing?
I'm practicing for the pipe bomb challenge.
Oh, the pipe bomb challenge at the In Your House house party at Outhouse Records, right?
Can I get some privacy, guys?
Oh, my bad, fam. Yo,
Oh,
Barry,
sorry.
let's go out here.
All right.
Yeah. Hey, so, Barry, promos might not be your thing, but that's okay. We got other games that we're gonna have. So, like, can you draw?
I can draw a fly.
Do you mean flies?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. It's okay. It's okay. How about wrestling trivia?
I know Nick Flair. Whee!
I don't think that's his name. Or never mind. Never mind. It's okay. It's okay. How about? Do you listen to podcasts?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're in luck because the In Your House podcast is going to be hosting their first live podcast right here at Outhouse Records.
Right here.
Right here, bro.
How much?
Bro, it's only $5.
I have $5.
That's what's up.
I have a cash register.
Yeah, that $5 it gets you in, and it gets you a chance to win other prizes like this. Wow! Isn't that cool? Wow! I know, right?
Friday, November 30th, In Your House presents the In Your House House Party, live at Outhouse Records. Come hang out with pro wrestlers, play games, win prizes, plus special appearances by the Chaos Goblin Kevin Calloway, Relentless Ray Larson. All ages welcome. Outhouse Records, 109 East Sycamore Street in downtown Kokomo.